Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Tower Defense Era. My base is 100 million points stronger. Chapter 1. Where is this? The cold and hard touch made Su Ming gradually regain his consciousness. He sat up blankly and looked around. Su Ming found that the place he was in was a completely unfamiliar environment for him. This is a wooden house with extremely simple furnishings. A wooden bed covered with straw. Next to the window is a wooden table and chairs, and next to it is a dead fire. Other than that, there is nothing else in the house. Through the wooden window, the gray sky outside is very depressing. Just when he was at a loss, a crystal ball suddenly appeared in the center of the wooden house, emitting a soft light. At the same time, one message after another appeared. This is a tower defense world. You are about to face countless attacks from disaster creatures. Survival will be your only goal. The wooden house next to you is your base. You have been bound to it. When you die, the camp will directly self-destruct, and if the camp is destroyed, you will become a wanderer and lose all building power. There are countless calamity creatures wandering around your base. Don't be afraid. You can build defensive towers by consuming corresponding resources, and killing them will give you rich resources. Every once in a while, there will be a tide of calamity, and countless calamity creatures will rush to your base. Please strengthen your base defense as soon as possible. As time goes by, disaster creatures will grow stronger. Please speed up the development and growth of your base. Reminder: your base has a protection period of 1 hour. After the protection period, disaster creatures will attack at any time. Please strengthen the defense of your base as soon as possible. Countdown: 0 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Tower Defense World. I have time traveled. Su Ming finally understood his situation at this time. He didn't understand why he crossed over suddenly, but it didn't matter. The ever-shrinking countdown was like a life-locking devil, filling him with a sense of urgency. The most important thing now is to survive. At this time, all the messages on the crystal ball had disappeared, and several options appeared. Base information, chat channel, base construction, trading channel. Seeing this, Su Ming opened the base information directly. Base, affiliation, Su Ming, level 1, base area, 20 meters * 20 meters. Wood, 20, stone, 20, iron ore, 20, gold coins, 0. In the information, you can clearly see the base area and various resource reserves. After getting a general idea of it, he opened the chat channel. The chat channels are divided into world and regional channels, and he found that the number of people in each area is 10,000. People who were originally scattered in various regions were connected through chat channels, and messages were refreshed quickly. My God, when I woke up, why did I run into this world? Whose prank is this? Stop it. I'm so scared I'm about to have a heart attack. Disaster creature. It sounds scary. Can someone save me? Yes, can someone come and save me? I dare not leave the cabin. The end of the human world is coming. Ha ha ha, everyone is going to die. Su Ming watched for a while and found that he did not travel alone, but everyone came to this world. And the speeches of these people are very ridiculous. When you come to this world, besides saving yourself, you also want to ask for help. He silently exited the chat channel, and clicked on the base construction column. There are two options: Defense Tower and Guardian Spirit. He found that the column of Guardian Spirits was gray and could not be opened, so he entered the column of Defense Towers. At this time, 3 defensive towers appeared in front of him. Arrow Tower. Construction needs: wood 5, stone 5. Catapult. Construction needs: wood 20, stone 30. Watch Tower, Scout Tower. Building needs: wood 10, stone 10. After reading the information, Su Ming walked out of the wooden house, ready to start building the defense tower. Although I don't know what disaster creatures are, safety comes first, and the defense system of the base is the most important thing. Outside the house, the base is surrounded by tall earthen walls. These earthen walls are 3 meters high and 1 meter wide, on which defensive towers can be built. Su Ming walked up the steps to the earthen wall, and at this moment his vision suddenly widened. Surrounded by a vast plain, it is filled with a faint blood-colored mist. Under the shroud of mist, strange and ferocious monsters wandered around. Are these disaster creatures? Su Ming felt heart palpitations. If the resources are sufficient, he would like to build defense towers on every inch of land in the base. But obviously, that's unrealistic. Since resources are limited, use all resources to the maximum. He currently has no resources to build the meteorite tower, and the sentry tower is just a reconnaissance tower, which is currently useless. The only choice left is the arrow tower. And it just so happened that his resources were just enough to build 4 arrow towers, one on each side of the earth wall. Build an arrow tower. The construction process is very convenient. He can designate the arrow tower to be built in any area of the base. Soon, he built an arrow tower on each of the 4 earth walls. At this time, the information of the arrow tower came into his eyes. Arrow tower. Level 1. Attack power, 5 to 10. Attack speed, 1 times s. Attack range, 30 meters. Introduction. One of the basic defense towers, with a faster attack speed, is the first choice for the initial defense base. Su Ming has no idea about these attributes, but he still has a sense of security in his heart. At this time, only half an hour before the end of the protection period, the tension in his heart became more and more intense. Time passed by every minute and every second, and soon half an hour passed. Guard time, 3. Guard time, 2. Guard time, 1. Suddenly, a cold voice suddenly sounded in everyone's ears. The protection time is over. Your base may be attacked by disaster creatures at any time. Good luck. Su Ming's heart jumped involuntarily, and he subconsciously looked into the distance. I saw the 3 monsters who were wandering aimlessly, suddenly turned around and attacked his base. The skin of these 3 humanoid monsters has rotted all over their bodies, and they look disgusting. Level 1 Carrion. Health, 50. Action speed, 5 meters per second. The 3 rotting corpses were getting closer and closer, and Su Ming couldn't help but sweat in his palms. The next moment, they stepped into the range of the arrow tower. Shish! A sharp arrow shot out from the arrow tower, and with the sound of piercing through the air, it hit the chest of a carrion corpse. -7. A value floated above the rotting corpse's head, and the blood bar immediately decreased by a small amount. The next second, an arrow shot out again. -6. At this time, they stepped into the range of the other 2 arrow towers. Shish! -8, -5, -6. In an instant, the blood volume of this rotting corpse was reduced by more than half. In the next second, the arrow tower fired a volley, and the rotting corpse limp on the ground unwillingly. At this moment, a reminder sounded, and Su Ming was stunned. You killed a calamity creature. The system is binding. The point system is successfully bound, and the host will get additional point rewards for killing disaster creatures. Opening Points Redemption Mall. The novice gift pack has been distributed to the system backpack. System. There is also a novice gift bag. Su Ming was stunned for a moment, and after realizing it, he looked over expectantly and found a gift bag. Open the novice gift bag. Ding! The novice gift bag has been successfully opened. Congratulations on getting 5x attack speed module 1, resource gift pack small *1, food gift pack small *1. So many things. Su Ming's eyes lit up, and he looked one by one. 5x attack speed module. After use, the attack speed of all your similar towers will be increased by 5 times. It's so strong. Su Ming's mouth grew involuntarily. The excitement and surprise were beyond words. 5x attack speed means that his towers deal 5x more damage in the same amount of time. Without the slightest hesitation, he directly put the template on the arrow tower. Immediately, all his arrow towers received bonuses. At this point, their attack speed column has changed to 5 times s. 5 shots in 1 second. At this time, the other 2 rotting corpses also entered the attack range of the arrow tower. Shish! An arrow tower just shot an arrow, followed by another arrow, and then a third. A series of 5 arrows were shot in the air, as if forming a straight line. They shot precisely at a carrion corpse. Puff puff. -8, -7, -10, -5, -6. Immediately, a series of injuries floated up, and the blood tank of this rotting corpse almost bottomed out in a second. Before he could take a few steps, another 5 arrows shot quickly. With a sound of bang, the rotting corpse fell to the ground and died, with arrows stuck in front of him. In just 2 seconds, the rotting corpse was dealt with cleanly. Ding, your arrow tower kills rotting corpses, plus 1 points. And the other rotting corpse also ended up in the same way. Ding, your arrow tower kills rotting corpses, plus 1 points. The 2 rotting corpses couldn't even get close to his base, and were shot 20 meters away. This immediately made Su Ming feel safe. Then, he looked at the other 2 gift bags. Resource gift pack, small. After opening, you will randomly get 50 to 100 units of various resources. Food gift pack, small. After opening, a certain amount of food and drinking water will be obtained randomly. He opened it directly. Ding, you open the resource gift bag, small. Congratulations on your acquisition. Wood 80, stone 80, iron ore 50. Ding, you open the food gift package, small. Congratulations on your acquisition. 10 caddies of dried meat and 5 liters of drinking water. The items from the 2 gift packages are of great help to him now. Save some dried meat and water, it can be eaten for several days. What makes Su Ming more important is that a lot of construction resources have been released, which is enough for him to build a lot of defense towers again. He knows very well that good steel should be spent wisely. After careful consideration, he decided to build a sentry tower, and the rest of the resources were used to build the arrow tower. He didn't consider the sling tower. Firstly, it didn't have an acceleration template, and secondly, there were too many construction resources, so it wasn't cost-effective at all. Open the build panel. Su Ming directly added 3 arrow towers on the 4 earth walls, consuming a total of 70 units of wood and stone. Now there are 4 arrow towers on each earth wall, and the defense ability has doubled several times in an instant. And the remaining 10 wood and stone are just enough to build a sentry tower. Build a sentry tower. A moment later, a sentry tower about 10 meters high appeared in the base, and at its top, a huge sphere was emitting a faint white light. Watch tower. Level 1. Detection range, 50 meters. Introduction. Although it does not have any defensive capabilities, it can also detect nearby disaster creatures in the dark, which is an important guarantee for the safety of the base. After looking at the attributes, Su Ming was very satisfied. This sentry tower can warn in advance. Even in the dark, there is no need to worry about disaster creatures coming to attack the camp. At this time, a reminder sounded. The Point Exchange Mall has been opened. Points Mall. Su Ming was overjoyed. Sure enough, on the system panel, the entrance to the Points Exchange Mall had appeared. He opened it directly. At the top of the mall, his current points are displayed. Current points. 2. These are the points obtained after killing 2 rotting corpses just now. Below, a dazzling array of items came into view, and he began to quickly check them out. Drinking water 1L, 2 points. 1 kilogram of high-energy biscuits, 2 points. Wood, stone, iron ore 1, 5 points. Double damage module, 100 points. Gene medicine, 100 points. First order sputtering module, 200 points. At first, Su Ming was very pleasantly surprised. Here, water and food can be exchanged, so he doesn't have to worry about the lack of food. But the more he looked, the more melancholy his face became. After a long time, he sighed. There are many items in the mall, and they are very comprehensive. He was very greedy, but he was too poor to afford anything except drinking water and biscuits. There is a long way to go. Su Ming sighed, and then closed the mall. At this time, it was getting dark. He inspected the earth wall and found that there were no disaster creatures attacking the camp, so he returned to the wooden house. At this time, he also felt a pang of hunger even after he hadn't eaten for a day. He took out a section of jerky and 500 milliliters of water, and ate it like a jujube. The jerky was strong and spiced. It was extremely delicious. He ate it all up in a few minutes and burped comfortably. Then, he opened the chat channel, ready to see how other people were doing. These disaster creatures are so scary, I'm homesick, woohoo. This monster is too nasty, I have a big hole in the earthen wall, I'm scared to pee. This arrow tower is too weak, it can't kill a monster for a long time. I'm so hungry, whoever has something to eat, give me some alms. I killed monsters and dropped 3 wild fruits, don't you have any? I only dropped 1 piece of wood, I'll exchange the wood with you for a wild fruit. I'm crying, why don't I drop anything when I kill monsters? It's getting dark so fast, I can't see anything, I'm so scared. The above chats are all about crying and complaining. It seems that everyone's condition is not very good. Su Ming thought and walked out of the wooden house. In such a short while, the sky has completely darkened, only the sentry tower still exudes a faint light, but the visibility is not far away. Ho ho ho, caw caw caw. Suddenly, under the silent night, one after another strange and terrifying voices came from all directions. Su Ming's heart tightened involuntarily. He quickly ran up the earthen wall, and when he looked around, he was suddenly taken aback. Outside the area covered by the light glow of the sentry tower, there is boundless darkness, as if there is no end, filled with a gloomy and terrifying atmosphere. Not far away, streaks of dark green light were rapidly approaching his base. What is that? In the darkness where you can't reach your fingers, groups of green lights are moving, which is very strange and terrifying. As the breeze blew, a chill rushed straight into Su Ming's heart. Soon, these green lights approached his base, exposed to the dim light of the sentry tower. Skeleton. Su Ming saw that it was a group of skeletons with no skin and flesh, only pale bones. They held a broad bone knife in their hands, and there were 2 balls of dark green flames flickering in the hollow pupils. These skeletons surrounded from all directions. Su Ming estimated that the number of this group of skeletons was at least 80 or so. A few seconds later, they entered the attack range of the arrow tower, and he also saw the information of these skeletons. Level 1 Skeleton Warrior. Health, 70. Action speed, 5 per second. At this moment, the 16 arrow towers started firing almost simultaneously. 5 shots in 1 second. Whoosh. Countless sharp arrows seemed to be connected in a straight line, flying out in the air, and soon hit the few skeletons in front. -4, -3, -6, -7, -5, a series of red injuries emerged. A skeleton at the front was attacked by 2 arrow towers at the same time, and it didn't survive for a second. The flames in his pupils dissipated, and his whole body instantly turned into a pool of bones. Ding, your arrow tower kills the first order skeleton warrior, and the points are +1. In the next second, another round of arrows was fired, and the skeletons fell to the ground one by one. Ding, your arrow tower kills the first order skeleton warrior, and the points are +1. Ding, your arrow tower kills the first order skeleton warrior, and the points are +1. The first layer of skeleton warriors that stepped into the attack range was basically cleaned up. But there are more skeleton warriors rushing towards the base in the rear. Gradually, these arrow towers could not be defended, and many skeletons approached with a round of arrow rain. They held up the bone knives in their hands, and slashed heavily on the earth wall. All of a sudden, the dust flew up, and knife marks appeared on the dirt wall, and Su Ming could feel a slight vibration on the soles of his feet. However, Su Ming felt relieved for the time being. The earth wall was very thick, and these skeletons couldn't break through it in a short time. The only trouble is that a city wall with a wooden gate is the only place where his base can be breached at present. Therefore, he directly controlled the arrow tower, giving priority to eliminating those skeleton warriors near the wooden door. Under the attack speed of the 16 arrow towers shooting 5 times a second, the crowd of skeleton warriors seemed vulnerable. After a while, only a few sporadic ones survived, and they were quickly killed. Su Ming glanced around and found that there were no disaster creatures approaching around the base for the time being, and he was relieved. At this time, he looked down, and suddenly found that besides some skeleton corpses, there were a few objects wrapped in white light, which were flickering. Obviously, these white lights are all items that exploded after killing the skeleton warrior. After confirming that the surrounding area was safe, Su Ming opened the wooden door and walked over. He stretched out his hand to wipe, and the white lights disappeared immediately, and at the same time, a series of notification sounds came. Ding, you picked up a small pile of wood, wood +2. Ding, you picked up a small pile of stones, stones +3. Ding, you picked up a small pile of iron ore +2. 2 minutes later, he picked up a total of more than 10 dropped items. A total of resources are obtained: wood 23, stone 30, iron ore 15, berries 20. Back in the base, he opened the point exchange mall. At this point, he saw that the column for the number of points had changed to current points, 93. He had only 2 points before. In other words, this wave of skeleton attacks earned him 91 points. The increase in points is exaggerated, but these points cannot be exchanged for other things except for some basic resources. He decided to save these points first, and after killing a few monsters, the points would break through 100. At that time, the items that can be exchanged will be very rich. He was very envious of the double damage module that could be exchanged for 100 points. With 5 times the attack speed, it's awesome to think about it. At this time, Su Ming opened the chat channel, and immediately saw a message refreshed quickly. My god, why is there a large group of monsters attacking after dark? Stop talking, I'm surrounded by a group of mutated gray wolves. There are so many monsters, I can't stand it anymore. Help, help, my base is about to be destroyed. Nima, this is the end of the world, I have given up resistance. Haha, my base is in the canyon, there are only a few zombies attacking, and it can be solved in 2 or 3 hits. Envy, my base is on a plain, surrounded by monsters. In the chat messages, it was bleak, and many people were calling for help. And Su Ming also knew that he was not the only one who was attacked, but almost everyone was attacked by disaster creatures. Some people are lucky, there are only a few monsters, and they can be easily eliminated. And some people were unlucky and encountered hundreds of monsters attacking them. Unless these unlucky fools have strengthened the defense tower like him and can easily deal with it, otherwise the base may be destroyed. These disaster creatures, few of them were seen during the day, but gathered in groups to attack their territory at night. Is it a coincidence, or is the night the real disaster? Suddenly, Su Ming noticed that the number of people on the regional channel changed dramatically. 9,234 10,000ths. He was shocked. This means that more than 700 people have died. And this is only the first night, nearly 10% of the people died. Su Ming clearly remembered that the message on the crystal ball mentioned at the beginning that the calamity creatures would become stronger and stronger as time went by. But now the start is the difficulty of hell, and the survival in the future is bound to become more and more difficult. Of course, all of this is for others. With point redemption, Su Ming is confident that the development speed of his base will be faster and faster. After all the tossing and tossing just now, Su Ming was a little tired and gradually fell asleep. The night passed by leisurely. The next morning, when Su Ming woke up, he found that the night had passed and the sky outside had turned gray again. With the arrival of a new day, Su Ming stretched comfortably and sat down on the wooden chair by the window. A huge piece of jerky and several plump and tender berries appeared on the wooden table. He then picked up a piece of berry and took a big bite. As he chewed, his mouth was immediately filled with fresh juice, which was sweet, delicate and refreshing. While eating, he opened the chat channel by the way. It's finally Yu Liang. I was so scared that I couldn't sleep all night, and I finally got through it. Same as above, the wooden door of my base was breached, I was so scared that I didn't sleep all night. I haven't eaten all day. I'm so hungry. Is there anyone who can exchange some with me? Who has water? Who has water? I'm going to starve to death. Belch. After a while, Su Ming finished eating what was on the table and burped comfortably. Then, he came to the earth wall and glanced around. He found that on the vast plain, there were only a dozen or so monsters wandering around, which was incomparable to the size of the skeletons last night. He opened the construction panel, collected a lot of resources last night, and was able to build the defense tower again. At present, he has enough arrow towers, and he is going to build a sling tower. After consuming 20 wood and 30 stone, a tall catapult appeared directly on the earth wall. Catapult. Level 1. Attack power, 50 to 100. Attack speed, 1/10 s. Attack range, 150 meters. Introduction. One of the basic defense towers. It has high attack power, but the attack speed is slow. It needs to be used properly to exert its greatest power. This is a defensive tower with distinct advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is high attack, and the attack power is 10 times that of the arrow tower. The attack range of 150 meters is enough for many calamity creatures to be crushed to death without reaching his base. The disadvantage is that the attack speed is very slow, and the arrow tower can attack 50 times with one attack. Shua. Suddenly, a huge stone was thrown from the catapult. Is there a disaster creature attack? Su Ming was stunned for a moment, and then looked away. It turned out that there was a carrion wandering 100 meters away. I saw the boulder draw a huge parabola in the air, and soon hit a carrion body. Boom! There was a violent crash. The carrion turned into a puddle of flesh, and the boulder rolled forward, rolling for more than 10 meters before stopping. Ding! Your catapult tower kills the first-order carrion, and the points are +1. 100 meters away, the rotting corpse was instantly killed. Su Ming is very satisfied with the result. It is worthy of spending so much resources to build it. Moreover, with such a long attack range, he can harvest some points that he could not otherwise harvest. Sure enough, in the next period of time, several calamity creatures ran into the attack range of the catapult and were killed directly, giving him 7 points. Including yesterday's points, his total points have reached 101 points, which can already be exchanged for some good items. He directly opened the system mall and screened out the items with 100 points. After watching for a while, he made a decision. Double damage module. 100 points. At present, this module can maximize his defense ability, and it is the best item that can be exchanged. After spending 100 points to exchange the double damage module, he directly put it on the arrow tower. Immediately, the attribute of this arrow tower changed. Arrow tower. Level 1. Attack power, 10 to 20. Attack speed, 5 times s. Attack range, 30 meters. Module, 5 times attack speed module, double damage module. With 2 templates set, the defensive ability of the arrow tower directly exploded. Su Ming even looked forward to whether there would be disaster creatures attacking his base tonight. It was already noon. Su Ming ate a few berries and a piece of jerky, and burped comfortably. Unknowingly, everyone has been in this world for a day. Suddenly, a series of reminders sounded in everyone's ears at the same time. Congratulations on a safe day in Tower Defense World. 3 days later, you will welcome the first wave of disaster frenzy, which will sweep the entire area. Don't take chances. During the catastrophe frenzy, there will be a large number of disaster creatures appearing, and their comprehensive strength is half stronger than usual. Please develop the base as soon as possible and enhance your defense capabilities. During this frenzy, 3 portal projections of disaster will randomly appear in each area, and a large number of elite disaster creatures will come from them. If you find a black vortex near your base, then congratulations, you have won the prize. In the end, the lucky ones who survived will get rich rewards. Good luck. Disaster frenzy. Su Ming looked a little dignified. Listening to the notification sound, a large number of disaster creatures will emerge in the disaster frenzy, and their strength is stronger than usual. This is a huge challenge for everyone. The only good news is that the catastrophic frenzy will come in 3 days, and Su Ming's tense heart is also slightly relieved. In 3 days, even if he collects 100 points every day, he still has 300 points. 300 points can be exchanged for a lot of good things. If not, he can also exchange for construction resources and build a large number of defensive towers. By the way, there is also the projection of the Door of Disaster. Suddenly, Su Ming thought of this. The notification sound said that the projections of the portals of disaster appear randomly in various places, and elite-level disaster creatures will descend among them. Su Ming knew with his ass that the strength of this elite monster must be far stronger than ordinary ones. Don't let this door of disaster fall on the side of your own base. He quickly ran up the earth wall, looked around carefully, and found that there was no black vortex near the base, and he was relieved. Fortunately, I did not win the lottery. At this time, the chat channel has already been discussed in full swing. What is the calamity frenzy? It sounds terrifying. The comprehensive strength of disaster creatures is half stronger than usual, not to mention that there must be more in number. Don't you think it's scary? It's not scary, it's not scary, I'm already lying down waiting to die. Why is this world so dangerous? There are monsters attacking in the dark night, and now there is a frenzy of disasters, making people alive. Ha ha ha, disaster has befallen the entire area, no one can survive. Is no one paying attention to the projection of the calamity gate? Did any of you win the lottery? Hey, I went around the base and didn't find any black vortexes. I wish you good luck. Yeah, I'll go see it too. Why is it getting dark again? Monsters are coming to attack my base again. After watching for a while, he closed the chat message. At this time, the sky has gradually darkened. Night is coming. Su Ming always feels that the daytime in this world seems to be half short and passed quickly. With the experience of the first night, he waited early on the dirt wall. His eyes scanned his surroundings. Suddenly, he found that the void 100 meters away suddenly trembled and began to twist and rotate, gradually forming a vortex. Su Ming stood on the city wall, a little in disbelief. Rubbing his eyes, he looked intently. He discovered that this black vortex has grown from the size of a football to the height of a person since its appearance, and it is still expanding. It's real. I've won the lottery. Su Ming felt a little uncomfortable. The soft breeze blew on his cheeks, but it made him feel cold all over. What the hell, I'm so lucky. The whole area stretches as far as the eye can see. I don't know how big it is. In this case, being able to be hit by the door of disaster is simply possessed by the mold god. However, there are still 3 days before the catastrophe frenzy will come, and I still have a chance to develop. As long as the points are used reasonably, there is absolutely a chance to keep them. Thinking of this, Su Ming's thoughts gradually came alive. The sky in this world changes very quickly. Just like now, the sky has changed from gray to dark night in less than a few minutes. The sentry tower exudes a faint white light, which can clearly see the situation 50 meters away from the base. But beyond this range, it suddenly becomes an endless dark world. There seems to be an invisible barrier in the middle, separating the base and the darkness into 2 worlds. After nightfall, everything fell into silence. Su Ming looked deep into the distance. He knew that the dark night was a time for a large number of disaster creatures to appear. While waiting, he opened the chat channel. The night has fallen, and I can't see anything anymore. I stood on the earth wall and watched. Why do I feel that there are monsters near the base? A monster has entered the detection range of the sentry tower. Oh my god, why are there so many monsters? I feel like I'm cold. That's right, there is nothing during the day, but at night it just pops up. With the experience of the first night, many people, like him, prepared early. Whoops. Suddenly, strange voices broke the silent night. Coming. Su Ming fixed his eyes and looked into the distance. In the endless darkness, the voices of unknown monsters came from everywhere, and it was unknown how many terrible monsters were hidden in it. In the dark night, shadows move. There, Su Ming controlled the catapult and launched it towards the front. A huge stone was thrown from the catapult, crossed a high parabola in the air, and disappeared into the darkness. After a while, there was a loud bang, mixed with the screams of monsters. Your catapult tower kills the first order corroded poisonous spider, the points +1. Your catapult tower kills the first order corroded poisonous spider, the points +1. Corrosive poisonous spider. Are the disaster creatures different every day? The blow from the catapult directly killed 2 monsters, giving him 2 points. More importantly, he knew the identity of the disaster creature hidden in the darkness. Tread, tread. The noisy footsteps were getting closer, and the appearance of these poisonous spiders was also exposed under the white light of the sentry tower. Level 1 Corrosion Venomous Spider. Health, 40. Action speed, 8 meters per second. I saw that these poisonous spiders were all about the size of a baby, covered with mysterious green patterns, especially the pattern on the back, which looked like the face of a ferocious woman, which looked very strange and terrifying. Shua. At this time, the catapult tower threw another boulder, and with the sound of rumbling through the air, it directly smashed into a group of poisonous spiders that had just been detected. There was a loud bang, and the 2 poisonous spiders were smashed and burst instantly, splashing disgusting dark green juice. -80. -96. Your catapult tower kills the first order corroded poisonous spider, the points +1. After launching, the sling tower also entered the time of the sage, as if it was stuck, and would not attack again for 10 seconds. These poisonous spiders are small in size, but they are fast, and quickly approached his base. In the next second, a group of poisonous spiders stepped across that line. Shoo shoo. On the earth wall, 16 arrow towers shot down neatly. Within 1 second, each arrow tower fired 5 sharp arrows. Suddenly, a small rain of arrows formed near the base. Venomous spiders run fast, but fly arrows even faster. Puff puff. The sharp arrows directly shot through their bodies without any hindrance, and the green sticky juice burst. -18, -17, -19, comma. The arrow tower did a lot of damage, almost killing a poisonous spider with 3 arrows. Even the surviving poisonous spider was pierced by the sharp arrow and was firmly nailed to the ground, unable to move. As soon as a round of arrow rain arrived, the next round of arrow rain came again, forming an unbreakable defensive net near the base. The group of poisonous spiders that entered the arrow tower were easily eliminated, and Su Ming also got 27 points. Chi. From behind, more and more poisonous spiders rushed forward without fear of death. But they were greeted by arrows that were fast like afterimages, and Su Ming only heard the sharp sound of shoo piercing through the air. Those poisonous spiders were crucified one by one. And from time to time, a huge rock roared out, hitting the poisonous spiders gathered in a pile, causing dust to fly and green juice to splash. In a few minutes, these poisonous spiders were all killed at a distance of 20 meters from the base. After waiting for a while, Su Ming didn't find any other disaster creatures coming, so he also relaxed. Tonight's defense seems to be very simple. He stared down deeply, with a relaxed expression on his face. Su Ming looked at the points, and the points had risen to 158 points. However, he was not in a hurry to exchange, but walked down the earthen wall and opened the wooden door. After killing so many poisonous spiders, many items were dropped. However, the corpses of these poisonous spiders looked very disgusting. He resisted the urge to feel sick, and began to pick up the dropped items. Ding, you picked up a small pile of wood, wood plus 5. Ding, you picked up a small pile of stones, stones plus 4. Ding, you picked up a pound of edible spider meat. Edible spider meat. Hearing the prompt, Su Ming was stunned, and subconsciously glanced at the corpses of these poisonous spiders. I saw that some of them had been smashed into meat paste, and some had been shot into a sieve. The corpses were overflowing with thick green juice, exuding an indescribable stench. Suddenly, a nauseating discomfort rushed straight to the top of his head. Can this stuff be eaten? I won't eat it even if I'm killed. Su Ming's face turned blue for a while, and he accelerated the picking speed. 10 minutes later, he returned to the base, took a deep breath of fresh air, and the discomfort in his heart eased a bit. Just now, he obtained a total of wood *56, stone *45, iron ore *32, and edible spider meat *10 caddies. Various construction resources have almost doubled compared to yesterday. But the edible spider meat really made him feel strongly uncomfortable. He wasn't short of food anyway, and wasn't going to feed himself at all. At this time, he opened the trading channel. Wood 5, I want to buy 200 milliliters of drinking water. Iron ore *10, I want to buy 5 wild fruits. Stone *20 can be exchanged for a caddy of meat. Looking around, the few transaction messages are all about buying food and drinking water. However, few are able to close the deal. At this stage, many people are short of food and water, hungry and full, and some even have not eaten for a day. Even if some people are lucky and drop a little food, they will keep it instead of trading it. Because they all found that the explosion rate of food is very low, and most of the dropped items are construction resources. And after reminding that the disaster frenzy is coming, many monsters are rushing towards the black vortex area, and large-scale disaster creatures will appear. More than 10 monsters in other places are already a lot. But near the black vortex, it is extremely difficult to survive. Su Ming scanned around and also clarified the current market of meat products. He directly divided 10 caddies of spider meat into 20 portions and hung them up. Half a caddy of spider meat can be exchanged for 10 wood stone. After putting it on the trading platform, he sent another sentence in the chat channel. Su Ming, I have listed 10 caddies of meat on the trading platform, and you can buy it if you need it. The people who were selling miserably to each other were suddenly stunned, and there was no new message refreshed in the chat channel for a few seconds. Then everyone fried the pot. Someone is actually selling meat now. Nima, I haven't eaten for more than a day, and Mr. Su Ming still has a lot of meat for sale. Meat is a scarce resource, and someone is willing to sell it. I just took a look. It's spider meat. It's disgusting to think about it. You can definitely eat it. I'm going to starve to death, no matter what kind of meat he is. I read the transaction information, he is the first one to trade. In the chat channel, a group of people chatted hotly. On the other side, many people are privately messaging him. Boss Su Ming, I just ran out of wood and stone, you give me half a caddy of meat first, and I will pay you double tomorrow. Brother Su, if someone wants meat, you can give it to me first, okay? If so, I will promise you anything. Big brother, I only have iron ore, what do you want? Quote. Whether it is a regional channel or a private message, many people want blank tickets. Su Ming pulls black all the time, what the hell, I'm not a saint, so I can give you things for nothing. The spider meat was hung up for a minute, and it was snatched by people, and only 2 copies were left unsold. Waited for a few minutes, still no one bought. Just when he was about to close the channel and go to sleep, a person sent him a private message. Lin Chang, Boss Su, I don't have wood and stone, but I have this with photos. Su Ming clicked on the picture. Fire gem. Contains the power of the mysterious fire element, which can be embedded on special defense towers to increase the damage of fire burns. Special defense tower. Su Ming was a little confused. This is the first time I have heard the term special defense tower. It is estimated that it may be a defensive tower that can be built later, but it is of no use now. Su Ming replied, how do you want to exchange? A few seconds passed. Lin Chang, boss, although I don't know the specific function of this thing, it will definitely be used later. 2 servings of spider meat, 500 milliliters of water, is that okay? Su Ming, you also know that food is very precious now, not to mention water resources are even more scarce, this flame gem is useless now. Lin Chang, a serving of spider meat, 300 milliliters of water. Su Ming, deal. Inside a wooden house, Lin Chang sat on the wooden chair, watching the sudden appearance of drinking water and a lump of black spider meat. He hadn't drank water for a day, and the corners of his mouth were dry and cracked, so he picked up the water directly, opened his mouth wide, and wanted to gulp it down. But then he thought of something, just took a sip and wet the skin of his mouth. Then the right hand picked up the lump of black spider meat. At the same time, system prompt. 1 serving of spider meat and 300 milliliters of water have been successfully traded, and you have obtained a flame gem. When Su Ming heard the notification sound, a fiery red gem the size of a fist appeared in front of him. As soon as the flame gem was picked up, there was a warm feeling, which was very strange. Su Ming looked around for a while, but didn't find any useful information, so he gave up. System prompt. A spider meat transaction is completed, and you got wood 10. The deal is done. Su Ming was overjoyed. So far, all the 20 portions of spider meat he posted have been traded. In addition to getting a flame gem that I don't know what to use now. He also obtained wood 80 and stone 110, which can be said to be a full harvest. Including the remaining resources of these 2 days, he already has wood 163, stone 160, and iron ore 67. Seeing so many resources, he excitedly opened the construction panel. Just fill up the arrow tower construction bar. Rumble. On the earth wall, there was a burst of vibration. Tall arrow towers appeared one after another, standing on the earth wall. 8 arrow towers were added on each earthen wall. In addition to the ones built before, his base has a total of 48 arrow towers, and its defense capabilities instantly exploded. The earth wall is almost crowded with arrow towers, and they line up on it, like guards one by one, majestic, capable of repelling all intruders. In an instant, Su Ming felt overwhelmed with security. Even if there are several times more disaster creatures than tonight, it may be difficult to approach his base. After all the arrow towers were built, his wood and stone also bottomed out. Back at the cabin, he turned on the regional channel. After 2 days and nights, the number of people has been reduced again, and there are only 8,981 people left. In 2 days, 10% of the people died directly. This is undoubtedly a potential stress for all survivors. Increase the defense and expand the base, otherwise, it will be swallowed by endless disaster creatures. Just after the surprise attack by the disaster creatures, everyone was looking for a sense of security in the channel, and the messages were refreshed quickly. Hey, I killed 10 monsters today, but none of the items dropped. I'm so mad. Me too, this explosion rate is really low. Kneeling and begging for wound medicine. I just left the base to pick up items and was attacked. My arm was almost bitten off. Now I don't even have food to deal with, so where can I find any wound medicine? Is it so dangerous? I just went out to pick up things too. I also went out to pick up things on the first night, and was chased by a mutated wild boar. Fortunately, I ran fast, otherwise I would be cold. You guys are so awesome, I dare not leave the base at night. After reading the conversation, Su Ming fell into deep thought. In the past 2 nights, he ran out to pick up items, and sometimes the items dropped were far away, almost out of the attack range of the arrow tower. Thinking of this, he was a little scared. Fortunately, he didn't encounter a sneak attack by a calamity creature, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. And I will definitely have to go out to pick up items in the future. It is impossible to stay in the base all the time. It seems that I have to strengthen my self-protection ability. With this in mind, he opened the points mall and scanned the products inside one by one. Soon, he locked an item. Gene medicine, 100 points. It can optimize the gene combination and greatly improve the individual's physical fitness. Looks good. After improving physical fitness, let alone be able to beat disaster creatures, at least run fast. It's up to you. Exchange. Spend 100 points, the exchange is successful. In the next second, a glass bottle filled with green liquid appeared in his hand. Snapped. Su Ming uncorked the bottle directly, put it on his nose and sniffed it. No smell. He raised his head, poured the genetic medicine directly into his mouth, and swallowed it. Smash it twice in the mouth. In addition to the sour taste just entered the mouth, there is also an indescribable taste. Nothing has changed. He looked at his body and found that there was no change after drinking it. He was suspicious for a while. This system could not be a fake product for sale. But a minute later, a burst of warmth suddenly appeared from his chest and abdomen, and then spread around his body. In an instant, bead-sized beads of sweat appeared on his skin and dripped to the ground. He only felt that the temperature of his whole body was getting higher and higher, as if soaking in a hot spring. The heat was unbearable. Fortunately, this feeling didn't last long, and after 5 minutes, everything returned to normal. At this moment, Su Ming felt that his whole body was full of strength. Looking down, I realized that my originally thin body had also become lean and strong, full of streamlined beauty. Call. Su Ming let out a long breath and came to the edge of the earthen wall. Immediately, he bowed slightly, kicked his right foot vigorously, and immediately rushed out like a swift cheetah. In a second, he reached the earth wall opposite. Su Ming quickly slowed down and stopped, his face full of surprise. You know, the distance is 20 meters, and he ran it in a second. Moreover, he was only less than 1 meter away from the earthen wall just now, and he was able to stop at such a fast speed, which is enough to show his strength. The ability to coordinate and respond has also been greatly improved. Sure enough, the system produced must be a high-quality product. He was so amazed that he completely forgot what he said before. After exchanging the genetic potion, he still has 58 points left. Su Ming continued to search in the mall. Soon, he saw a satisfactory item. Exquisite condenser. After construction, it can automatically condense and collect water vapor in the air, and purify it to form drinkable water. It is a good water production equipment. At this stage, water is an extremely scarce resource. A person can go hungry for several days without food, but a day without water is difficult. Having a device that can produce water stably will undoubtedly solve the problem of drinking water. Exchange for an exquisite condenser. Spend 100 points, the exchange is successful. Suddenly, an exquisite instrument made of steel and 1 meter in size appeared in front of Su Ming. At the bottom, there is a glass container, which is the place where water resources are gathered. There is a scale engraved on it, and you can see that this container can hold up to 20 liters of water. Tick. Just for a moment, a drop of transparent water without impurities passed through the hose and fell into the glass container. The efficiency is not bad. Su Ming observed for half an hour, and more than 100 milliliters had accumulated in the glass container. In this way, this condenser can condense about 5 liters of water a day. This is enough for his daily drinking, and the excess drinking water can be traded for other resources. Thinking like this, Su Ming lay on the bed and turned on the trading channel. On the trading platform, many people are asking for drinking water but can't. Even some people started to exchange 10 wood for 200 milliliters of water. He was very happy to see it. After the condenser gathers some water tomorrow, he is ready to trade. Except for the cost of 50 points at the beginning, it is completely useless to exchange resources for water afterwards. It passed overnight. Early the next morning, after Su Ming got up, he ran to the condenser immediately. After one night of condensation, more than 2 liters of drinking water had been filled in the glass container at this time. After thinking about it, he opened the trading channel and posted the trading information. Seller: Su Ming. Trading item: 100 milliliters drinking water. Required exchange item: 5 wood stone. Stock: 10. Remarks: there are special items that can be chatted privately. The information was published successfully. 1 liter of water can be exchanged for 50 units of construction resources, and the cost is completely zero. Pure profit. Moreover, although 100 milliliters of drinking water is not much, it is also a life-saving thing for some people who are extremely short of water resources. He wasn't worried that no one came to buy. In the chat channel, Boss Su Ming has started selling drinking water. What? I'm going to starve to death, so I'll buy it now. Upstairs, you are talking about the hammer. Don't you think there are not enough people grabbing water? What's the matter with Su Ming? Yesterday he sold meat resources, and today he started selling drinking water. What is the special item? If anyone has it, give me a look. Is Su Ming so lucky? Killing monsters keeps exploding food and water. A group of people discussed enthusiastically. The sale of meat and water these 2 days made him instantly famous and attracted the attention of many people. Others trade wood and stone for food and water. Only he is totally different, he sells both food and water. This is too fast. Looking at the drinking water where all transactions were completed in a few seconds, Su Ming somewhat underestimated everyone's demand for water. After the transaction, he also got wood 30, stone 20. After thinking about it, he added another arrow tower on each wall. So far, on his base, 13 arrow towers have been densely deployed on each wall, which can be described as impenetrable. He walked up to the dirt wall, which already seemed a bit crowded. Su Ming reckoned that building up to 2 more arrow towers on each earthen wall would not fit it. Boss Su Ming, do you still have water? Can you sell some more? Woo, I didn't grab it. Yeah, these dogs are really fast. As soon as Su Ming opened the chat, he saw a bunch of people asking him. Seeing this, he thought about it and decided to reply. In the future, drinking water will be sold once a day, and those in need can prepare resources. By the way, if you have special items, you can chat with me privately at any time. There is nothing to hide. Even if he doesn't say it, some interested people will notice that he sells water every day. And now that he announces the news directly, he may be able to collect some special items. Boss, awesome. Sell it every day. Has the boss found a way to get drinking water? Boss, teach us how to get drinking water. I'm crying, I'm hungry and thirsty now. The bosses are starting to sell extra water. Big brother, please take care of me. Nurture +1. The chat channel is fried. While many people were shocked, they also roughly guessed that Su Ming could obtain water resources stably. But he didn't care. At this moment, the news of his private message was already 99+. The number of private messages exploded. Maybe this is the famous trouble. Many people came to ask him how to obtain water resources, and none of them traded special items, which made Su Ming very confused. He directly set keywords to screen all these people. He can only receive messages that contain special items, and all others are blocked. After setting, the private message column was immediately emptied without a single message. Immediately, Su Ming felt that the whole world was clean. In the blink of an eye, the morning passed. As soon as Su Ming opened the chat channel, he saw someone send him a private message, saying that he wanted to trade special items. Lu Sishi, I have a special plant seed, please take a look first, with attached picture. The profile picture is a girl with exquisite appearance. Su Ming frowned and smiled. Finally someone has come to trade special items. He directly opened the attached picture and looked it up. Spirit fruit tree seed, special. Introduction. When mature, it can produce a large number of spiritual fruits. Regular consumption can slowly improve physical fitness. Maturity time, 10 days. Remarks. Before maturity, 500 milliliters of water needs to be watered every day. Spirit fruit. After reading it, Su Ming became interested. Su Ming, how do you want to trade? Lu Cixi, I need 1 liter of water and 5 caddies of food. Seeing this, Su Ming laughed angrily. As soon as this woman came, the lion opened her mouth. She really regarded the water and food as Chinese cabbage. Su Ming, if you want to trade, you have to show your sincerity. You must know that you are short of food and water now, and seeds are not necessary for me. After sending the message, the other party was silent, and it took a minute for the other party to reply to the message again. Lu Cixi, 800 milliliters of water and 3 caddies of food. You have to know that when a fruit tree matures, it can become a stable source of food. Su Ming, hee, then why don't you grow it yourself? 500 milliliters of water per day, who can afford it? Also, you treat my place as a vegetable market and keep haggling. The other party was silent again, but Su Ming was not in a hurry. After 5 minutes, the other party also replied. Lu Cixi, then you say, how to deal? Pipe. Su Ming, buy it now, 500 milliliters of water, and a pound of jerky. The other side. Lu Cixi bit her red lips with her white teeth, her face was full of anger. Su Ming is too black-hearted, not a gentleman at all. It's just a little food and water. I really don't want to exchange. But I'm so hungry and thirsty. 2 days ago, she was a college student with a well-to-do family. Worry about food and clothing every day. Go to class, drink some milk tea, go shopping, play games. How relaxed and comfortable a day's life is. But everything has changed. Everyone came to this horrible disaster world, and terrible creatures would attack her base every night. Fortunately, not many monsters came to attack every night, so she survived. But without killing monsters, she also lacked food and water resources. Cuckoo. At this time, her stomach began to protest again. Lu Cixi had no choice but to agree to the exchange. Transaction complete. A plump, brown seed suddenly appeared in front of Su Ming. It was the spiritual fruit tree seed that had just been traded. Later, he spent 5 points to buy a small shovel in the Point Mall. Go to the cabin and look around. In the base, after leaving the wooden house, there are no other buildings. So the available land area is very wide. He went directly to 2 meters away from the wooden house, took a shovel and began to dig a hole. After a while, a hole more than 20 centimeters deep was dug here. Plant the seeds. Fill the hole. Watering. All in one go. As long as it is watered on time every day, the fruit tree will mature in 10 days. At that time, he will also have a more stable food source. Although it cannot be used as a staple food all the time, it is much better than other states where you are full and hungry. But in this world, 10 days is still too long. He opened the Points Mall, searched for a while, and finally found a ripening agent that worked well. However, this ripening agent cost 50 points, which he still couldn't afford. Can only give up temporarily. Time passed by and it was already evening. The sky is gradually getting dark, and night is about to cover the earth. For the people who came to the Calamity World, the night is their nightmare and disaster. When it gets dark, they will be afraid, hiding in the wooden house and shivering. The night is finally coming. At this time, the dirt wall. Su Ming stood beside the arrow tower, looking at the gradually darkening sky. His face was full of anticipation. He took out a piece of jerky, chewed it with relish, and took a big mouthful of water from time to time. While eating, he watched the chat channel. The night is approaching, and no one knows what and how many disaster creatures are attacking their base tonight. The unknown is always terrifying. Many people use chatting to find comfort and dispel fears in their hearts. The third night is coming, and disaster is coming again. Jade Emperor, Buddha, bless you, kowtow to you. I survived the first 2 nights with difficulty, I don't know if I can survive tonight. Woo, my wooden doors are all broken, I'm afraid it will be cold tonight. The chat messages were swiped one by one. Su Ming stood on the earthen wall and waited silently. The dense defense towers around him gave him full confidence. When the darkness swallowed the last touch of white light in the sky, everything fell into silence. Night has officially fallen. Tread, tread. In the distance, bursts of noisy footsteps and roars gradually sounded. Calamity creatures are coming. There are countless monsters hiding in the darkness. Su Ming only saw clusters of blue light like will-o'-the-wisps rapidly approaching his base. From the looks of it, the monsters that came to attack tonight were different. Soon, hideous and terrifying monsters stepped into the light of the sentry tower. Surrounded by disaster creatures coming from all directions. After swallowing the genetic medicine, Su Ming found that his eyesight had also improved a lot. In the distance, calamity creatures covered in rotten flesh and pale bones came into view. Level 1 Ghoul. HP, 60. Action speed, 10 meters per second. The hideous heads of these ghouls are huge, and their bodies are relatively small, roaring with a bloody mouth. They are very fast, even faster than the skeletons and poisonous spiders in the previous 2 days. Shua. At this time, a boulder flew out of the base, breaking the calm first. The boulder drew an arc in the air, and hit a bunch of ghouls with precision. Boom. With a loud bang, the group of ghouls exploded. -72. -86. -73. Your catapult tower kills a first-order ghoul, points +1. 3 reminders in a row, tonight's offensive and defensive battle officially started. Killed 3 ghouls, but it was so insignificant to the huge group of monsters. It didn't affect them in the slightest to continue their attack. However, Su Ming is not worried. The good show is yet to come. In 2 seconds, the moment when the ghoul rushing to the front rushed into 30 meters. The densely packed arrow towers are attacking. Whoosh! The sharp arrows whizzed away with a cold light. The strong piercing sound rang in Su Ming's ears, as if making his clothes rattle. He saw, ahead, hundreds of arrows flew away one by one, forming an overwhelming arrow rain. The scale was shocking and frightening. With the blessing of the 5x attack speed module, these arrow towers shoot extremely fast, and with his enhanced eyesight, he can hardly catch the arrows shooting rapidly. Puff puff. The sharp arrows shot at the attacking ghouls in an instant, and the sharp arrows easily penetrated into their bodies, causing bursts of blood. -18, -17, -12, -15, -19. A blood-red damage number floated up on the ghoul's head. As soon as the ghouls stepped into the attack range, they were pierced to the ground. Your arrow tower kills a first-order ghoul, points +1. A series of reminders sounded like the tide, continuously. This wave brought him dozens of points. Su Ming found out that after shooting so many ghouls, there was still a crowd behind them, constantly pouring out from the darkness, seemingly endless. Ho ho ho. Groups of ghouls roared, and their dead companions seemed to inspire their madness. The scarlet ugly eyes were filled with madness and fanaticism. Stepping on the corpses of their companions, they continued to rush towards the base. As long as they can rush through 30 meters, they can attack Su Ming's base. But that short 30 meters is like a moat, impossible to reach at all. The overwhelming rain of arrows shot downwards without any interruption, forming a firm defensive circle. In the interval from 30 meters to 20 meters outside the base, the corpses of ghouls kept piling up, but they never even had a chance to step within 20 meters. Seeing this, Su Ming has completely relaxed. With nothing to do, he opened the chat channel to see how other people were doing. Why are there fewer and fewer monsters attacking these 2 days? I'm crying, there are only a few monsters today, and none of the items exploded. Yeah, without calamity creatures, there would be no supplies. How can I survive? What are you talking about? I was besieged by 40 or 50 monsters. Help, my city wall is broken, I feel cold. You won't die upstairs. Why is everyone's situation so different? Su Ming frowned slightly. Some people's bases are only attacked by a few monsters, while others are surrounded by disaster creatures. Life and death are unpredictable. Is it because everyone's base is in a different location? Or other reasons? Or is it the reason for the black vortex? Su Ming doesn't know the answer, but feels that it's not that simple. At this point the battle is still going on, but the number of ghouls is always limited. After this period of shooting, the group of ghouls has almost been emptied. The corpses outside the base have piled up into hills. The remaining few were shot one by one. Your arrow tower kills a first-order ghoul, points +1. Then with the final sound of the reminder, all the attacking ghouls tonight were eliminated. There were no waves during the whole process, and the group of ghouls were easily crushed. He glanced at the points, and he had already reached an astonishing 311 points. Every point is the corpse of a ghoul, which means that there are more than 300 ghouls attacking tonight. This amount was almost double that of the second night. Next to the corpses of these ghouls, masses of objects were wrapped in white light. Under the dark night, it is extremely conspicuous. Apparently a lot of items dropped today. A small bumper harvest. Su Ming was agitated. Seeing that there was no danger around him, he jumped straight up and climbed over the wall. Fall firmly to the ground. Afterwards, he walked to a group of objects and picked them up. Ding, you picked up a small pile of wood +5. There were clusters of white lights superimposed together in front of it, and there were a lot of items, so he walked over quickly. Just about to bend over to pick it up. Sudden, in the mountain of corpses, a bloody hand reached out to him. Chapter 11. Ding, you picked up 300 grams of bread. Ding, you picked up 200 milliliters of potable water. Ding, you picked up a small pile of wood +5. Su Ming was having fun picking up items. What? Suddenly, he felt his left ankle being grabbed. Ice and cool. Turning his head to look, there was a big hand dripping with blood and bones protruding from the mountain of corpses, grabbing his ankle. This big hand was like an iron tongs, firmly grasping him, and its strength was getting stronger and stronger. Immediately, Su Ming was terrified, and a chill ran down his spine straight to the top of his head. There is still a fish that slipped through the net. Su Ming was shocked and his whole body tensed up. The muscles in his left leg twitched violently. Boom. Now his physical fitness has already far surpassed that of ordinary people, and when he burst out with all his strength, his ankle was directly out of the control of the big hand. But at the same time, he also pulled out the monster that attacked him from the mountain of corpses. With a hasty glance, he saw that it was an enlarged version of the ghoul. His physique is 2 circles larger than other ghouls, and there are some unchewed carrion residues on the sharp fangs, which looks very hideous and terrifying. First-order ghoul mutation. Status: changing. Introduction. In the state of dying, the ghoul that triggers mutation and evolution with a very small probability, various attributes are increasing greatly, and various abilities are being derived at the same time, which is extremely dangerous. Ability 1. Camouflage. Can pretend to be in a state of suspended animation to avoid detection and attack. Ability 2. Devouring. Devouring flesh and blood corpses can continue to evolve. Ability 3. Variation. Mutated. Camouflage. Su Ming was stunned. No wonder it was able to escape the attack of the defense tower. Moreover, this mutant ghoul has several more abilities than ordinary ghouls, which are by no means comparable to ordinary ghouls. It is very dangerous at first glance. He didn't care about picking up the dropped items anymore, so Sa Yazi ran towards his base. Run with all your strength, the speed is even faster. Less than 20 meters ahead is the gate of the base. As long as he enters the base, he is not afraid of this mutant ghoul. But at his speed, it only takes 1 second to arrive. Roar. A roar mixed with a fishy wind seemed to be whistling in his ears. So fast. Su Ming was horrified. This ghoul was even faster than him, and the distance between them was less than 1 meter. Danger is coming. Call out. At this time, dozens of arrows shot at a distance of less than 1 foot above Su Ming's head. Puff. Roar. Behind him came the sound of a sharp arrow piercing into flesh, and the roar of a mutated ghoul. The ghoul is blocked and slowed. Su Ming didn't bother to look back, and rushed directly to the gate, closing it quickly. Call. He was leaning against the wall and panting heavily, his body was already dripping with sweat. Thinking about it now, he still has lingering fears. If he hadn't drank the genetic potion and his physical fitness had greatly improved, he might have died in the hands of the mutated ghoul. A few seconds later, he walked up the dirt wall and looked down. He was shocked. This mutated ghoul is not dead yet. Countless arrows shot at it. -5, -4, -3, -7, -5. A series of blood-red wounds floated from his head, and his body was also covered with dense arrows. Is the damage so low? As expected of a mutated ghoul. Click click click. +200. Under the wall, the sound of a ghoul devouring was heard. Su Ming was horrified to see that after it devoured a ghoul's corpse, its blood volume, which was about to bottom out, increased by another 200 points. Devouring ability. Su Ming's heart is heavy. There are so many corpses next to it, if it keeps devouring, wouldn't it be impossible to kill? And the most terrifying thing is that he can not only strengthen himself through devouring. But at this moment, a boom pierced through the air. A boulder flew over his head, hitting the devouring ghoul straight. Boom. -51. The mutated ghoul's huge body staggered violently, and was knocked to the ground. The bones on its body were smashed, making it impossible to get up. Whoosh. Countless arrows flew towards it, and after 2 rounds, the mutated ghoul screamed and died immediately. Finally killed. Su Ming breathed a sigh of relief. Your arrow tower kills the first-order mutant ghoul, points +50. 50 points. Su Ming's eyes widened involuntarily. Killing a mutant ghoul is equivalent to killing 50 ordinary disaster creatures. It's a huge hit, but this mutated ghoul is so strong, it's totally worth the price. Suddenly, a faint green light appeared in front of Su Ming's eyes. This is an explosive item. Looking closely, beside the mutated ghoul, a ball of green light was bigger than other dropped items, and it was extremely conspicuous. However, after the encounter just now, it did not dare to act rashly. Control the catapult, and deal with all the corpses next to it. 10 minutes later, he walked out of the base and approached quickly. As he got closer, he also saw that this ball of green light was wrapped in a treasure box-shaped object. It is covered with strange and mysterious patterns, which looks very mysterious. Ding! You picked up the bronze treasure chest. The prompt sound appeared, and Su Ming turned it on directly. Ding! You have obtained the first-level arrow tower upgrade blueprint. You have obtained the blueprint for the construction of the flame tower. Ding! You got the resource gift pack middle. 2 blueprints. Unexpectedly, the blueprint of the defense tower was found in the bronze treasure chest. He looked directly. Level 1 arrow tower upgrade blueprint. After you have the blueprint, you can upgrade the first level arrow tower to the second level. Required for upgrade: wood, 20, stone, 20, iron ore, 20. At present, the number of his arrow towers is basically saturated, and only upgrading can increase the defense ability. And this upgrade blueprint just solved this problem. Building blueprint of Flame Tower. A special defense tower that can release mysterious and powerful fire elements to attack the enemy, with destructive power. Required for construction: wood, 100, stone, 100, iron ore, 100, fire gem, 1, fire rune, 1. Special defense tower. Su Ming's eyes lit up. He had seen this term before when he obtained the flame gem. Moreover, among the construction materials of the flame tower, there happened to be this flame gem. Now we only need to build the fire rune. Put away the drawings. He used the resource gift pack middle again. Ding! You got 200 units of wood, stone, iron ore resources each. Very good. Tonight not only harvested 2 chapters of defense tower blueprints, but also got so many construction resources. Moreover, he has not picked up the items dropped near the base. After half an hour, all the dropped items were picked up. He took stock of what he had gained tonight. Total points: 361 points. Total construction resources: wood 421, stone 400, iron ore 241. Food obtained: 5 kilograms of bread, 1 L of drinking water. Tonight is a big harvest. Subsequently, he directly spent 240 units of wood, stone, and iron resources. Upgraded 3 Tier 2 arrow towers on each wall. Arrow tower. Level 2. Attack power: 40 to 60. Attack speed: 5 times s. Attack range: 60 meters. Module bonus: 5 times attack speed, double damage. The attribute of the level 2 arrow tower not only doubles the attack power, but also doubles the attack range to 60 meters. The defense ability far exceeds the first level arrow tower. After the upgrade, the appearance of the level 2 arrow tower has also changed. Thin and straight, the top of the tower is like a cover, and its color is as dark as iron. It is a head taller than the surrounding level 1 arrow towers, and it looks full of majestic momentum. After the upgrade, he opened the points mall again and searched carefully. The 361 points made Su-Ming feel a little inflated. Soon he locked on to an item. First order sputtering module, 200 points. Once the module is installed, your tower attacks of the same type will cause splash damage to nearby enemies. Sputtering range, 1 meter. Splash damage, 30%. Spend 200 points and Su-Ming will redeem them directly. Then, he put the sputtering module into the arrow tower. So far, his arrow tower has a total of 3 modules, and its defense ability is far superior to others. He does not plan to use the remaining points for the time being. He opened the trading channel. He directly hung up the food and water that he could not use up. Seller. Su-Ming. Trade item. Bread 200 grams. Exchange item. Iron ore 8. Stock. 25. Remarks. Owning flame runes and special items can be private. Seller. Su-Ming. Trading item. Drinking water 100 milliliters. Exchange item. Iron ore 8. Stock. 15. Remarks. Owning flame runes and special items can be private. The 2 items were put on the shelves successfully, the bread was just picked up, and the drinking water was 1.5 L with the condenser and the just picked up. He just upgraded the arrow tower and has used up all the iron ore, so he only exchanges it for iron ore now. And taking advantage of the fact that almost no one can use the iron ore at present, he directly lowered the price of iron ore, and 1 inventory can be exchanged for 3 more iron ore. In the chat channel, Boss Su-Ming is selling food and water. Haha, I'm so happy to use iron ore to trade today, but I don't need it anyway. You guys are so fast. What are the flame runes? Why are they something incomprehensible? One thing to say, Su-Ming has exchanged so many resources, I really want to see how his base has developed. Needless to say, someone else is buying iron ore. Think about whether it is useful to hold iron ore yourself. In less than a minute, all the bread and drinking water he ordered were completed. And he also got 320 iron ore. Without the slightest hesitation, Su-Ming directly upgraded 10 level 2 arrow towers again. So far, nearly half of the arrow towers have been upgraded to level 2, and the defense capability of his base has increased greatly again. But it's a pity that no one has mentioned that there are flame runes. Su-Ming also knew that it was useless for him to worry about such a special item. At this time, he suddenly remembered that the spiritual fruit tree can be ripened, so he directly opened the points mall to search. Perfect plant ripening agent, perfect quality, without any additives and side effects, can shorten the ripening time of plants by half. Exchange points, 50. The effect is very good, it can be ripened half the time earlier. Exchange. Spend 50 points, the exchange is successful. In the next second, a glass bottle filled with green liquid appeared in his hand. Walking out of the wooden house, he directly poured the ripening agent on the land where the spirit fruit tree was planted. The ripening agent quickly penetrated into the ground. After observing for a while, he found that there was no change and fell asleep. The night passed quickly. The next morning, Su-Ming woke up and came to the condenser. The water condenser has collected more than 2 liters of water in the container after 1 night of accumulation. He took out 500 milliliters of water and prepared to water the spirit fruit tree. Walking out of the wooden house, he looked around and was shocked. On the land ahead, a fresh and strong seedling had broken through the ground, swaying slightly under the breeze. Grow so fast. Su-Ming was amazed, and slowly poured clear water on the ground. Immediately, clear water seeped into the ground, and in a trance, Su-Ming seemed to see that the seedling had grown a bit more. After watering, Su-Ming also started his breakfast. 1 jerky, 2 berries. Although the jerky was very fragrant and delicious, eating it for 3 consecutive days made him a little boring. He opened the trading channel. Look up food deals. There are very few foods sold on the platform, and the price is extremely expensive, which is not worthwhile. Su-Ming was a little disappointed, and glanced at the seedlings on the ground. Suddenly, he realized. Buy other food and grow it yourself. Immediately, he changed the search keyword to plant seeds. Just a search. A dense patch of seeds appeared in front of his eyes. A small bag of wheat seeds exchanged for 100 milliliters water. A small bag of tomato seeds exchanged for wood 5. A small bag of potato seeds exchanged for 100 grams meat. On the transaction bar, there was a lot of information about selling seeds, and the price was not expensive for him. Su Ming wondered why they didn't grow it themselves. But on second thought, planting these seeds requires watering. At this stage, water is an extremely precious resource. Many people are short of water resources, and even the basic daily water needs of the body cannot be met. Naturally, it is impossible to use water resources to irrigate plants. And even if the seeds are planted, it will take a long time to wait for them to mature. In a time of great danger and lack of supplies, it is the most real thing for them to use seeds to exchange for the resources they lack. Crop seeds are the most useful only for people like Su Ming who have no shortage of supplies. Su Ming started to exchange directly. The exchange was successful, and you got a small bag of wheat seeds. The exchange is successful, and you get a small bag of potato seeds. A minute later, he exchanged 5 seeds: wheat, potatoes, tomatoes, cabbage, broccoli. After the exchange, Su Ming knew that the maturity period of these seeds was very short, and it only took a week to mature. He then cleared the planting area next to the log house. Since the area of the base is not large, each area he cultivated is 1 x 1 meter in size. The reclamation area is not large, and it took only half an hour to complete the reclamation of the planting area. Then, he took a shovel and started working. In each area, a hole was dug every few centimeters. Then put the corresponding seeds in, and then fill the hole. Finally, each pothole is filled with water. The whole process is complete. After some operations, the whole morning passed. After planting the last area, Su Ming breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at the planting area in front of him, he felt a sense of accomplishment. In a week, these seeds will mature, and he can eat delicious rice and vegetables. At noon, Su Ming was chewing delicious jerky while opening the chat channel. The disaster frenzy is coming one more day. What? So fast? I only have 10 arrow towers. I'm better than you, I have 15 arrow towers. Haha, disaster is coming, everyone will die. What you said above is correct. Everyone is going to die. The food is useless. Has anyone donated it? You're thinking about farting. The catastrophe frenzy is coming, and there is a haze in everyone's heart. At this time, Su Ming, who was eating delicious food, also paused. Yes, the disaster frenzy is coming. On everyone's panels, there is a blood-red countdown. 23 hours 55 minutes and 12 seconds. In less than a day, the disaster frenzy mentioned by the notification sound is coming. Su Ming walked up to the earthen wall and looked around. The corpses of the ghouls near the base have disappeared, leaving only a messy ground. The calamity creatures that died every night would disappear inexplicably the next day, and Su Ming didn't know why. And not far from the base, a black vortex appeared in the air. This vortex is expanding every day, and its diameter is now 3 to 4 meters in size. Su Ming guessed that this black vortex should be similar to a transmission channel. When the disaster frenzy comes, disaster creatures will descend from it. Su Ming watched with deep eyes, but he was not so nervous in his heart. Now his defense is full, and there will be a wave of disaster creatures attacking tonight. At that time, another wave of supplies will be harvested, and the base will be built even stronger. In the afternoon, Su Ming was pleasantly surprised to find out. The seeds in the planting area broke through the soil, and fresh and tender seedlings sprang out. And the spirit fruit tree grew surprisingly, reaching the height of Su Ming's knees. Time passed by, and evening came. It was getting dark. Night fell. The darkness gradually engulfed the entire world. The last ray of light disappeared into the sky. In the silent and dark world, the sound of rustling gradually came. Groups of red lights suddenly appeared in all directions, very conspicuous in the endless darkness. As coming, Su Ming stared deeply into the distance. He came to this world for a few days, and he also knew that the clusters of red light were emitted by disaster creatures. Ho ho ho! Noisy and strange roars and running sounds sounded from all around. Su Ming knew that the offensive and defensive battle tonight was about to begin. A few minutes later, massive roars seemed to resound throughout the plain. Su Ming's eyes were sharp, and he had already seen clusters of black shadows moving in the darkness. These monsters are about to be exposed to the white light of the sentry tower. Swish, swish, swish. Just when Su Ming was about to see the figure of the attacking disaster creature clearly, arrows flew out of his head suddenly. These arrows are thicker and longer, especially the sharp ones, which are harder and slender, glowing with a faint cold light, whizzing away towards the distance. This is a level 2 arrow tower. Su Ming immediately realized that the attack range of these level 2 arrow towers had doubled. No wonder the arrow towers started to attack before he could see the figures of the disaster creatures clearly. Puff puff. In the distance, the arrow shot quickly and disappeared into the darkness. Although Su Ming couldn't see the specific situation, the sound of the arrow piercing his body could be heard clearly. Your level 2 arrow tower kills a level 1 iron zombie, plus 1 points. Your level 2 arrow tower kills a level 1 iron zombie, plus 1 points. Your level 2 arrow tower kills a level 1 iron zombie, plus 1 points. Comma. A series of beeps came. Looking at the points, these level 2 arrow towers killed 35 iron zombies in a single attack. In the next second, the frontmost layer of rigidity was exposed to white light. These iron stiffs have scarlet eyes, their muscles are shriveled, and their skin is gray and black like iron, looking very hard. At this time, all the level 2 arrow towers also shot sharp arrows again. 5 shots in 1 second. In an instant, the sharp arrow arrived. Puff. Minus 54, minus 48, minus 46, 0.56, minus 50. Sharp arrows pierced directly into their bodies. Under the high attack power of the level 2 arrow tower, the stagnant blood volume almost bottomed out with one shot of arrows. Minus 18, minus 15, minus 14. At this time, the effect of the sputtering module is fully reflected. The iron zombies that were shot, all the iron zombies within 1 meter around them suffered splash damage. Originally, their blood volume was bottomed out after receiving an arrow, but the splash damage directly emptied their blood volume. This group of iron zombies came aggressively and densely, which just made the sputtering module play its biggest role. Almost every arrow would splash 2 or 3 iron zombies. Some of the iron stiffness in the rear was splashed to death. The 3 waves of attacks from the level 2 arrow tower killed almost 100 iron zombies. Too strong. Looking at the completely crushed stiff, Su Ming sighed. The high attack and long distance shooting range of the second level arrow tower made these iron zombies fall before they could even reach the attack range of the first level arrow tower. The battle lasted for a few minutes, and most of the huge group of iron zombies was emptied. This is a battle without suspense. 3 minutes later, the last iron zombie also fell. The battle is over. The outside of the base is already a mess, groups of iron zombies are scattered all over the place, and a bloody smell soars into the sky. Next to those corpses, clusters of items fell, which were extremely conspicuous. With the previous experience, Su Ming dare not be careless. He controlled the boulder tower, and directly smashed the corpses to prevent any fish that slipped through the net from threatening him. After some operations, half an hour passed. He opened the wooden door and vigilantly picked up a bunch of items. After another half an hour, all the items were picked up, and Su Ming returned to the wooden house. Tonight, a total of 289 iron zombies were killed and 289 points were obtained. And in terms of resources, tonight has gained a lot. Wood increases by 168, stone increases by 174, and iron ore increases by 201. Obtain 5 caddies of raw meat and 3 liters of water resources. After counting the harvest tonight, Su Ming habitually opened the chat. Ding ding ding. Suddenly, he saw someone sent him a private message. Lu Cixi. I got the flame rune tonight, do you want more? Flame rune. Su Ming was startled, and a smile appeared on his face. This girl is so lucky. She got the seed of the spirit fruit tree last time, and now she got the flame rune again. If he can exchange for this flame rune, he can directly build the flame tower. He replied directly, what do you want to trade? After a while, the other party replied, just trade as last time. Su Ming was stunned for a moment, thinking that the other party would still open his mouth like last time. Why is it so easy to talk this time? But he didn't care so much, and replied directly, no problem. Immediately afterwards, Su Ming paid 1 jin of jerky and 500 milliliters of water in exchange for the flame rune. Fire Rune. Being able to automatically gather the power of scattered and free flame elements is a must for making fire defense towers. So far, all the construction resources of the flame tower have been collected. Su Ming took out the construction drawings and started building directly. Put up. When Su Ming started to build, the fire runes and fire gems in his hand suddenly disappeared. On the earth wall, a huge phantom appeared. Clank. It was as if there was a sound of metal clashing in my ears. With the passage of time, the huge phantom gradually solidified and shrunk, and waves of scorching air rushed towards the face. Ding! The construction of the flame tower is complete. A minute later, when the notification sounded, the whole picture of the flame tower also appeared in front of Su Ming. This is a bright red defensive tower, about the size of a level 2 arrow tower. On the body of the tower, engraved with circles of flame patterns. There is a notch in the middle of the flame pattern, and one of the fire rubies is shining brightly, which looks very extraordinary and mysterious. At this time, Su Ming also looked at the attributes of the flame tower. Flame tower. Type: Special Defense Tower. Level: Level 1. Attack method: Flame Storm requires charging. Attack range: 200 meters. Charge limit: 0.001. Minimum charge: 100 points of fire energy. Charging speed: increase by 1 point per second. Introduction: a special defense tower that can gather and use fire elements to attack. The more fire elements gathered, the greater the power of the flame storm. Remarks: manual attack and automatic attack can be set. The attributes of the flame tower are completely different from the introduction of other ordinary defense towers. After a while, Su Ming figured it out. It doesn't have attack power, attack speed, etc., instead it has charge. The flame storm can be released with a minimum charge of 100 points, and the more charges, the greater the power of the flame storm. The charging speed is not fast, and it takes 140 seconds to reach the release condition of the flame storm when it is increased by a little per second. It takes more than 16 minutes to fully charge. Therefore, in the battle, the flame tower cannot release attacks casually. With this in mind, Su Ming set the attack mode of the flame tower to manual control by himself. After the flame tower was built, he still had resources left, but they were running out. The catastrophe frenzy is coming, and he needs to exchange for more resources to maximize the defense capabilities of his base. He opened the trading platform, hung up 3 liters of water resources and 3 kilograms of meat, and exchanged for various construction resources. After the transaction information was set, Su Ming waited silently. In the past, when these food and water were put on, the transaction was completed in less than a minute. But this time, many people put construction resources in their own bases to improve their defense. Therefore, after half an hour, all transactions on the platform were completed. Now, his various resource quantities are: wood, 168, stone, 190, iron ore, 210. These resources are not many, and they cannot improve the base defense comprehensively. Under the impact of large-scale disaster creatures, they may impact their own earth walls. At that time, the wooden door was the weak point of the base's defense, and it was very likely that it would be broken through by disaster creatures. Thinking of this, he opened the point exchange mall and started searching. Soon, he saw a more suitable one. Iron Gate Construction Blueprint, 50 points. He still has 100 points to buy directly. Drawings available. Resources required for Iron Gate construction: wood *20, stone *20, iron ore *50. He then walked to the wooden door and started building directly. Immediately, the original wooden door began to be enveloped by a burst of white light. Then, a phantom of an iron gate emerged. A minute later, the iron door took shape. He pushed hard, and a solid and heavy feeling came. Su Ming was very satisfied. The iron gate was much more defensive than the crumbling wooden gate. After the iron gate was built, he began to upgrade all the remaining arrow towers. After a bang, 7 fortified second-level arrow towers appeared on the earth wall. After finishing all this, Su Ming breathed a sigh of relief. He has already used all his resources to improve the base, and at present, the defensibility has been fully stretched. Looking at the densely packed defensive towers, Su Ming felt at ease. If so many defensive towers can't be defended, then he can't help it. After finishing the base construction, there are still more than 10 hours before the disaster frenzy comes. Su Ming watched the discussions in the chat channel and soon fell asleep. The night passed by leisurely. Su Ming glanced at the panel. At this time, there were still 2 hours left in the countdown, and many people in the chat channel were scrolling through messages to seek a little comfort in their hearts. Su Ming came to the condenser, and within one night, there was already more than 2 liters of water in the container. He took out 500 milliliters of water and walked out of the cabin. As soon as he went out, he saw that the spirit fruit tree was growing amazingly, already 2/3 his height, with lush leaves growing on it. Slowly water the roots of the fruit tree. Su Ming cleared the weeds in the vegetable seedling area. After planting for about 2 days, these seedlings are as tall as his ankles, and they are growing very well. After finishing his work, he took out the jerky and ate it slowly. After a few days, he would be able to eat vegetables and white rice. After breakfast, he walked up the earthen wall in a leisurely manner. At this time, there is only 1 hour before the disaster strikes. Hoo-hoo! The biting cold wind howled, and a strange gray mist gradually rose in the air. As time passed, the fog became thicker and thicker, and it had already begun to affect the sight. At this time, everything on the plain was silent, and the silence was a little scary. Looking around, not far from the base, Su Ming saw that the black vortex had completely formed. The center of the vortex is constantly spinning, as if it wants to swallow people's eyes. It is breathtaking. Gradually, a strange fog enveloped the surroundings. Like the night, Su Ming couldn't see the specific situation at all, except for the area covered by the sentry tower. Hoo-hoo! At this time, the strong wind howled suddenly, and the biting cold wind kept blowing. Standing on the earthen wall for a while, Su Ming felt that waiting for an hour was too difficult. He opened the points mall, spent 10 points, and exchanged for a recliner. It was placed on the open space on the earth wall, and he lay down directly on it. "It's much more comfortable this way," Su Ming exclaimed. The reclining chair is made of many small and tough rattan. Lying on it, it is soft and elastic, very comfortable. Time is passing by every minute and every second, and the time for the disaster frenzy is coming. Countdown. 3, 2, 1. It has started. Watching the countdown, Su Ming narrowed his eyes and stood up. Sudden. It seemed that there was an unknown wave of energy coming, and he suddenly felt like a stone was pressed in his heart, very depressed. It's even hard to breathe. Ho ho ho. Suddenly, in the black mist, massive roars erupted. Accompanied by the deafening bang, the ground trembled slightly. At the same time, the black mist around the base receded like a tide, and the sight gradually recovered, allowing them to see farther. With the base as the center, it can be clearly seen within a range of about 500 meters. But farther away, the fog still showed no sign of dissipating, and the specific situation within it still couldn't be seen clearly. At this time, many calamity creatures were also exposed in front of them. Looking around, Su Ming's eyelids twitched even though he had made all the preparations. Outside the base, densely packed disaster creatures suddenly appeared. Within the visible range alone, Su Ming estimates that there are thousands of them. This number is even more than the sum of the previous few days and nights. Not to mention how many terrifying disaster creatures are hidden in the weird fog. Simply terrible. Carrion, corrosion poisonous spider, frozen, ghouls, ... A series of disaster creatures that attacked him before appeared, and there were more disaster creatures that he hadn't seen before. Ho ho ho. Caw caw caw. Dense disaster creatures swarmed towards his base like a tide. The movement speed of these massive disaster creatures is not very fast. But within a minute, they also stepped into the attack range of Su Ming's defense tower. Boom! A boulder roared out at high speed, turning into a long and narrow parabola in the air. Then, the boulder fell and smashed into the disaster biome. Bang bang. Because they were too dense, this boulder directly hit 5 disaster creatures. Your catapult tower kills a first-order ghoul, points +1. Your catapult tower kills first-order zombies, points +1. The beep keeps ringing. The death of 5 calamity creatures was nothing to the huge disaster group. The rest of the disaster creatures continued to roar and surge up, getting closer and closer to Su Ming's base. A few seconds later, the calamity creature rushing to the front finally stepped into the attack range of the level 2 arrow tower. And at this time, the battle of offense and defense has officially started. There are at least 7 level 2 arrow towers on each wall of his base, and their defense capabilities are beyond the charts. Shish. Arrows were shot out one by one crazily. Each arrow was shot 5 times in 1 second, there was no gap at all. The powerful whistling sound of piercing the air rang in Su Ming's ears, and countless arrows flew through the air and shot directly into the calamity group. Puff puff. The sharp arrows shot through their bodies without any hindrance. -57, -48, -46, -59, -43. The level 2 arrow tower shoots 5 arrows in 1 second, and with the double damage module, the attack power is as high as 60 points. In addition, with 30% splash damage, 1 arrow can often kill a calamity creature. Some arrows even passed through the body of the monster in front, and shot directly at the disaster creature behind. As soon as a wave of arrows came out, another wave of arrows was fired again. Outside the base, countless overwhelming arrows fell like raindrops, like a god of death harvesting life. Pieces of calamity creatures fell down like weeds, and the scene was very shocking. The attack of the second-level arrow tower was too fast, so that the rushing speed of the monster group could not keep up. There was an open space among the dense crowd of monsters. Soon, the follow-up calamity biota filled up, but was emptied again in a few seconds. Even his first-level arrow tower had no chance to attack. And in less than a minute, his points have skyrocketed. More than 200 points have been harvested so far. Looking at the huge group of disaster creatures behind him, Su Ming's eyes were burning. The catastrophic biota that is extremely dangerous to others is like a group of walking points in his eyes. Calamity creatures are still pouring in like a tide, but they never have a chance to get close to the base. As expected of a level 2 arrow tower, Su Ming sighed. Just relying on more than 20 level 2 arrow towers made his base look impregnable. However, Su Ming did not dare to take it lightly. After all, this calamity frenzy has just begun, no one knows how long it will last, and whether there will be more powerful disaster creatures in the future. Whoosh! The overwhelming arrows formed a solid line of defense, and all the disaster creatures that entered the attack range of the arrow tower were ruthlessly killed in seconds. In the interval between 60 meters and 40 meters outside the base, the corpses of dead disaster creatures have piled up into hills. Ho ho ho! Suddenly, a large number of calamity creatures roared, their eyes were full of excitement and madness, and they stopped attacking. What's the situation? Seeing the sudden strangeness, Su Ming frowned slightly, feeling a little uneasy in his heart. At this time, these calamity creatures turned their heads at the same time and moved closer to the black vortex. Boo! Suddenly there was a strange sound from the black vortex, and strands of dark black light radiated, shining on the calamity creatures approaching. Su Ming was shocked to find that the bodies of these calamity creatures began to swell and gradually became larger. He quickly looked at their attribute panels, and suddenly found that the attributes of these monsters had been greatly improved. Tier 1 Ghoul Enhancement. HP, 60 right pointing arrow 90. Action Speed, 10 meters per second right pointing arrow 15 meters per second. Level 1 Corrosion Poisonous Spider Enhancement. HP, 40 right pointing arrow 60. Action Speed, 8 meters per second right pointing arrow 12 meters per second. Su Ming noticed that in their introduction, there was an additional enhanced affix. At the same time, their HP and action speed were increased by half. Su Ming's eyes widened involuntarily. Nima, hit it, and strengthen it halfway, who can stand it? Suddenly, the mutation regenerated. I saw the black vortex began to spin violently, and an extremely strong bloody smell gushed out. Next moment, boom, there was a shock. A giant monster with a height of 5 meters appeared in front of Su Ming. This monster has a huge body, with huge and deformed pieces of flesh growing all over its body, making it look very disgusting and weird. Immediately afterwards, giant monsters continued to emerge from the black vortex. In a short period of time, 50 appeared. Tier 2 Flesh Puppet. HP, 1000. Action Speed, 8 meters per second. Hiss. Looking at the attributes, Su Ming couldn't help but gasp, with a solemn expression. This turned out to be a second-order calamity creature. With a life value of 1000, even a level 2 arrow tower would have to attack about 20 times to kill it. Boom boom boom. The ground shook violently. 30 flesh and blood puppets are arranged in a row, like a row of impenetrable meat mountains. Then, with their huge bodies, they ran towards Su Ming's base. A large number of calamity creatures followed behind them. In an instant, Su Ming understood their tactics. This flesh and blood puppet is like a row of human shields, protecting all other disaster creatures behind them. Whoosh! A few seconds later, the flesh and blood puppet stepped into the attack range of the level 2 arrow tower. Countless sharp arrows shot away at high speed. Puff! -28, -29, -25, 21, 23, comma. A row of injuries floated up. Su Ming couldn't believe his eyes. A second-level arrow tower shot 5 arrows in a second, and it only caused more than 100 damage to these flesh and blood puppets. In other words, it would take at least 7 or 8 seconds for an arrow tower to shoot and kill a flesh and blood puppet. In 7 or 8 seconds, they were already close to his base. Su Ming looked heavy. Under the protection of flesh and blood puppets, a large number of calamity creatures have rushed to the attack range of the level 1 arrow tower. And these low-level arrow towers only caused a few damage to the flesh and blood puppets. It was completely scraping. So far, not a single flesh and blood puppet has fallen. Seeing the calamity creatures getting closer, Su Ming took a deep breath and walked towards the flame tower. Since the completion of the construction of the flame tower, it has been charging every second, and it has already been fully charged by now. Su Ming's eyes were fixed, and his eyes were fixed on the center of the flesh and blood puppet. Flame storm. In an instant, the patterns on the flame tower began to emit more intense light, and then gathered towards the fire ruby in the middle. An extremely scorching heat wave rushed towards his face. Boom! I saw an extremely hot flame storm, like a blooming flower, suddenly exploded in the center of the flesh and blood puppet. Almost all the flesh puppets were burned. Howl! The monster howled in pain. -562. -558. -567. -546. At this moment, the dense damage value jumped. Every time it jumps, there are more than 500 damage values. A large number of disaster creatures were instantly melted by the high temperature of the flame storm. Even the flesh and blood puppets couldn't last for 2 seconds before being scorched into charcoal. Your flame tower kills the second-order flesh and blood puppet, and the points +10. Your flame tower kills the second-order flesh and blood puppet, and the points +10. The flame storm lasted for 10 seconds before dissipating quickly. This is too scary. Su Ming was already dumbfounded and looked down the base. The place where the flame storm burned was already a mess. Not a single blade of grass could grow. Countless charred corpses were piled together, and even the ground was burned to gray and black. While shocked, Su Ming noticed. After the flame tower releases the flame storm, all the charging points have been consumed to 0. At this time, it is recovering at a rate of +1 per second. The flame tower emptied the area where the flesh puppets were located, but outside this area, there are still a large number of disaster creatures surviving. As if they were not afraid, they continued to attack Su Ming's base. However, without the meat shield of the flesh and blood puppet, the whole battle began to show a crushing trend again. Even if they have been strengthened, at most they can reach the range of the level 1 arrow tower before being cleared. Your level 2 arrow tower kills a level 1 enhanced ghoul, points +2. Su Ming was very refreshed by the constant reminders. Killing these strengthened calamity creatures will double the points, turning them into 2 points. After this period of fighting, his points have skyrocketed, surpassing 1000 for the first time. As time goes by, more and more scourge creatures are killed. Su Ming noticed with sharp eyes that no new calamity creatures had emerged from the mist. The calamity creatures in sight are constantly being killed, and the number is constantly decreasing. 5 minutes later, all disaster creatures within sight were killed. At this moment, outside the base, there were already piles of dropped items, and he was very greedy to see them. If it wasn't for the fear of a sudden disaster attack, he would have liked to go out and pick it up immediately. Su Ming stood on the earthen wall, looking into the distance. After waiting for 10 minutes, no new calamity creatures emerged. As the frenzy over, he guessed, but in a blink of an eye, I saw that the black vortex was still there, showing no signs of dissipating. He reckoned that the frenzy might not be over yet. With doubts, he opened the chat channel. At this time, he noticed that the number of people in the area was only over 5,000. It means that under this wave of disaster frenzy, more than 1,000 people died. Ha ha ha, the disaster creature was defended by me, and I am still alive. I actually defended against the attacks of more than 100 disaster creatures, I'm so awesome. Hee hee, guard against 200 passing by. These enhanced calamity creatures seem to have eaten a powerful pill, and they have dug a hole in my wall. Is the disaster frenzy over? I don't know, probably not yet, the black mist hasn't dissipated yet. God bless, don't come again, I can't hold it anymore. Ha ha ha, it's a hare, a lot of items are dropped, I'm going to pick them up. It seems that everyone's situation is the same. No new disaster creatures appeared. But Su Ming guessed that this was only the first wave of the disaster frenzy, and there should be more disaster creatures to attack later. But now, it's time to harvest. He pushed open the iron door and walked towards the fallen items. Ding, you picked up a middle pile of wood, wood plus 1/5. Ding, you picked up 1 L of drinking water. There are really many items dropped outside the base, especially the second order flesh and blood puppets, which basically drop 1 item for every 2. Moreover, the items they drop are more abundant than those of the first order. After picking up for half an hour, Su Ming finally picked up all these items. At this time, his resources have been abundant like never before. The total resources are as follows. Construction resources. Wood, 890, stone, 942, iron ore, 857. Food resources. 20 kilograms of raw meat, 15 L of drinking water. What surprised Su Ming even more was that he also got a lot of plant seeds and a blueprint for building. Plant seeds. Corn seeds *1 small bag, hemostatic grass seeds *1 small bag, blood grass seeds *1 bag. Blueprint. Smelting furnace crafting blueprint. Needless to say, corn seeds, the hemostatic grass and raw blood grass are both materials for making healing medicines. The smelting furnace can smelt various metals and refine stronger metal materials. In addition, his total points have reached 1550 points. A great harvest. Su Ming was surprised. Having obtained so many resources, he couldn't wait to open the construction page. Upgraded all remaining level 1 arrow towers to level 2. A total of 380 units of wood, stone, and iron ore were consumed. So far, all of his 48 arrow towers have been upgraded to level 2. Afterwards, he opened the points mall and started searching. Soon, he locked an item. First order module upgrade crystal, 500 points. Function. The first order module can be upgraded to the second order. Su Ming's eyes widened. He had already seen the power of the first order module. If it is upgraded to the second level, wouldn't it be invincible at this stage? He now has 3 modules, and it takes 1500 points to exchange 3 crystals. Just enough. Exchange. Ding, you spend 1500 points to exchange for 3 first order module upgrade crystals. After the exchange was completed, 3 thumb-sized dark blue crystals suddenly appeared in his hand. After that, he directly used the upgrade crystals one by one. Immediately, the effects of the 3 modules changed drastically. First order module upgrade crystal successfully used. The first order 5x attack speed module has been successfully upgraded to the second order 10x attack speed module. The first order double damage module has been successfully upgraded to the second order 5 times damage module. The first order sputtering module has been successfully upgraded to the second order sputtering module. Seeing the module with a greatly improved effect, Su Ming's face changed again and again, and finally turned into deep surprise. The first 2 modules are well understood. 5 shots per second becomes 10 shots per second. Double damage becomes 5 times damage. The original attack power of the level 2 arrow tower is 20 to 30, and the 5 times damage module is installed, and the damage is directly multiplied by 5 times, which is 100 to 150. In other words, without counting the armor, a level 2 arrow tower can produce thousands of output in 1 second. Who can stand this? Even a flesh and blood puppet can't stand it. Su Ming looked at the upgraded sputtering module. Second order sputtering module. Sputtering range, 2 meters. Splash damage, 35%. Compared with Tier 1 and Tier 2 sputtering modules, the sputtering range has increased by 1 meter, and the splash damage has increased by 5%. It seems that the improvement is very small, but to deal with the scourge creatures that get together, the splash module is like an artifact. So far, Su Ming has almost digested all the resources obtained this time. The defense capability of the entire base has increased by 5 times at least. Regarding the coming calamity frenzy, he felt that he was already stable. Time passed by, and it was already evening. All afternoon, Su Ming lay on the rattan chair, watching the situation outside the base from time to time. But throughout the afternoon, the disaster creatures did not strike again. At this time, the sky gradually darkened. The surrounding fog began to shroud the vicinity of the base. When the last smear of white light was swallowed by darkness, the whole world was plunged into endless darkness. Rumble, ho ho ho. Suddenly, the ground began to shake, and the roar of monsters soaring into the sky came from the darkness. It's coming again. Su Ming stood up, staring deeply into the distance. At this time, his face was calm. Not only did he not have a trace of fear in his expression, but there was also a faint look of anticipation. In the darkness, groups of black shadows surged, and it was unknown how many monsters were hidden. Buzz. A strange wave of energy scattered in all directions, and Su Ming looked at the black vortex. There is the projection of the Calamity Gate, although its condition cannot be seen clearly at night. But Su Ming knew that this black vortex was about to make another moth. Ho ho ho. Accompanied by bursts of roars, the surrounding disaster creatures quickly approached Su Ming's base. Soon, the disaster creatures rushing to the front were exposed to the white light of the sentry tower. Immediately afterwards, groups of calamity creatures frantically charged towards the base like a tide. Giant monster. The calamity creatures that attacked this time were all extraordinarily large in size, with their muscles bursting out, like small titans. Moreover, they all moved very fast, rushing 10 meters in a second. Swish, swish, countless arrows roared out. The sound of breaking through the air continued continuously. In an instant, the overwhelming rain of arrows enveloped the outside of the base. 10 arrows per second plus 5 times damage plus 35% splash damage. These giant monsters rush fast and die faster. Puff. Thick and sharp arrows entered their bodies, directly piercing their bodies, and ruthlessly hitting their companions behind them. Bursts of cracks sounded. -1019. -1320. Thousands of high damage directly kill them in seconds, without a chance of survival. Even some unlucky ones were directly killed by splash damage before rushing out. Tread, tread. Suddenly, the ground rumbled, and there was a strong vibration, as if there was an earthquake. As this, the projection of the door of calamity descended on monsters again. Su Ming's gaze was fixed on the direction of the black vortex, his expression concentrated. Tread, tread. The rumbling sound became louder and louder, as if it was ringing right next to my ears. Su Ming saw extremely fast figures suddenly appearing from the darkness. Tier 2 Skeleton Knight Elite. Ability, Charge. Elite monsters. Su Ming frowned. These skeleton knights have no skin and flesh, only pale bones. Their upper bodies have been integrated with the skeleton warhorses below them, and with long spears in their hands, they charged towards his base. The bone horse raised its hooves and launched a charge. In an instant, it ran 20 meters away, so fast that Su Ming could hardly see it with naked eyes. But he didn't panic at all. The flame storm was launched directly. The flame energy rioted, and in front of the skeleton knight, a flame storm burst out suddenly, blocking them like a wall of fire. These skeleton knights couldn't stop the car at all, and plunged into the flame storm. Way. The high temperature instantly melted the skeleton knights. In less than a second, all these elite monsters were burned to charcoal. Elite monsters, that's it. Su Ming didn't feel any disturbance in his heart. At this time, densely packed disaster creatures are still coming from the darkness. But after the module was upgraded, these monsters were shot and killed as soon as they appeared. Bodies piled up like mountains. There is no suspense in this offensive and defensive battle. Half an hour later, Sporadic disaster creatures were also shot one by one. Su Ming waited silently for an hour, but no new disaster creatures appeared. Lots of items dropped outside the base. He walked out of the base and started picking up from near to far. Ding, you picked up a middle pile of wood, wood plus 2-5. Ding, you picked it up. Ding, you have picked up the first level base upgrade blueprint. Su Ming. After more than half an hour, Su Ming picked up all the items and returned to the base. At this moment, he was holding a drawing with blue light in his hand. Level 1 base upgrade blueprint. After use, the first level base can be upgraded to the second level. Construction conditions. Total number of defensive towers, 50 40ths, wood, 785 hundredths, stone, 805 hundredths, iron ore, 825 hundredths. As you can see, all construction conditions are met. Without any hesitation, he directly built. Immediately, the drawing in his hand turned into a blue spot of light and disappeared from his hand. There was a roar at the base, and the wooden houses were trembling slightly. At the same time, a notification sound came. Ding, base upgrade countdown, 1 hour. Okay, another hour to wait. Never waited to build a defensive tower before. Let's eat first. At this moment, Su Ming's stomach growled. The jerky has been eaten today and the berries are gone. Currently his only food is the raw meat he picked up. He took out a lump of raw meat and looked at it. The color of the meat was pale pink, and it felt greasy and sticky to the touch. Do you want to eat this raw meat directly? Su Ming couldn't accept it. After thinking about it, he opened the system mall and started searching. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Exquisite grill, 20 points. Adding 1 unit of wood can work for 1 hour. Su Ming decided to eat barbecue tonight. After exchanging the grill, he exchanged it for a set of kitchen utensils. All tools are ready. First put in the wood to start the fire. After the raw meat is cut into thin slices, it is carefully washed again. Then these slices of meat were strung together with wooden sticks. After the ingredients were prepared, Su Ming picked up a bunch of meat skewers and prepared to put them on the grill. Suddenly, he slapped his head. There is still a lack of condiments. He immediately spent 20 points to exchange for various condiments. At this time, the charcoal has burned red and the temperature has risen. Su Ming dipped a wooden brush in cooking oil and brushed it on the grill. Put a bunch of skewers on top and cover the grill. Wait. Immediately, the meat slices were roasted at high temperature and curled up, the fat appeared, and the smell of meat began to emanate. At this time, Su Ming started brushing. Salt. Chili noodles. Cumin. Chopped green onion. ... After a while, the wooden house was filled with a strong smell of meat skewers. Smell good. Su Ming took a deep breath, already moved his index finger, and his mouth was full of fluid. The first batch of meat skewers have been grilled and ready to be skewered. He couldn't wait any longer. 4 or 5 meat skewers were rolled together. The meat slices enter the mouth, bite lightly, the heat is just right, and each slice of meat is charred on the outside and tender on the inside. The tender meat slices and spices are perfectly blended together. Every time you chew, the tip of your tongue is covered with rich gravy, so delicious. Every time I breathe, I can smell the smell of scurrying meat. One after another, there is no way to stop. After eating a handful, he put the meat skewers prepared next to him on the grill. Rumble. Suddenly, there was a roar. The ground shook, and the wooden house trembled, crumbling, as if it was about to fall apart. What happened? Su Ming looked around blankly. At this time, the surroundings slowly returned to calm, and a reminder sounded. Ding, your base has successfully upgraded to level 2. Ding, you became the first person in the world to upgrade to a level 2 base, and won the only Medal of Honor, Pioneer. At this time, in the chat channel, the surviving people are chatting. Oh my god, when it gets dark, dense monsters surround my base. Yeah, there are so many calamity creatures, and the defense towers can't shoot them. It's over, my city wall is broken, who can come and save me? Everyone's situation is not optimistic, just ask for luck. What the hell, why are there so many monsters at night, it's killing me. As far as I noticed, the number of people in the area is only 4,000. What? I remember that there were more than 8,000 people 2 days ago. Did the disaster frenzy take away so many people? No one can resist this endless calamity creature. Yeah, everyone will die in the end. The entire chat channel was filled with an atmosphere of fear. Before the disaster frenzy, many people only faced the crisis of lack of food. But when the catastrophe frenzy struck, many people's bases were directly flattened by massive monsters, and they died tragically. You know, everyone was living a modern and safe life just a few days ago. Some people may work overtime every day, some are factory workers. Life is so beautiful. But even though he was suffering and tired, he did not face the threat of death. And the calamity world directly demonstrates the law of survival of the weak and the strong to the fullest. Many people who barely defended their spirits almost collapsed. At this time, in the chat channel, a red banner flew out quickly. Su Ming, a human being, bravely took the lead in resisting the frenzy of disasters, successfully upgraded the base to level 2, became the first level 2 base in the world, and won the only Medal of Honor, Pioneer. Human Su Ming. Human Su Ming. It was broadcast 3 times in a row, and finally it was pinned to the top of the channel for everyone to see. At this moment, everyone is boiling. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.